Hi, this is Tad the Diet Coach, and today I'm here with Jason Lawson for this edition of Raw Fitness Combine, and we're going to talk a little bit about what makes Jason special, which is, I guess as of last year, you're ranked number 2 in the world for the multiply bench. You hit a bench of like 825, I think it was, right?
Correct. That's correct.
And so that kind of makes you a resident expert on on bench press, as well as being genetically superior to me in the bench press. Tell me a little bit about what. Tell everybody that who may not know who you are. So people who probably are involved in the sport probably know who you are, but some of us who aren't involved in the sport, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got involved in bench pressing or in powerlifting, and what drew you to the sport.
I was always an athlete. I think it's funny that I bring this point up to people. I used to weigh about 155, 160. I weigh about 285 now. So my specialty used to actually, I was a basketball player, and actually went in the military. I got in the Air Force and went away for about 4 years. And the first office I was in, everybody lifted weights and everything. And, if you lifted weights and you went to the gym, you got 2 hours for lunch. So I was game. So it kind of started there, and I actually learned from a couple of powerlifters, and I actually had a good base to go on, and that actually was a huge plus for me because I didn't have to go through the trials and tribulations some people have to. I was kind of taught proper technique early on, but you still have to go through different things and find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So eventually, over the years, I've had to do that also, but that was in about '96. So I guess I've been lifting for about 18 years or so. And then I got home from the military, and a friend of mine, we were lifting heavy, and we kind of got in our first competition in 2005. And we both took first place, and then actually got invited to Reno, Nevada for the Wabdol World Championships. That was pretty cool. Went on a team here from Tennessee, and I didn't do so well there, but I learned something. My other buddy, he did really well. The team overall did pretty good, but it was a good experience. But that was how I got kind of started, and I was hooked.
And that was how many years ago? You said 18 years.
2000.
Oh, 2005. Okay, so it wasn't all that long. It depends on how old you are. Because for me, it wasn't that long ago. It doesn't feel like it. So now you you're doing the multiply. So you're doing you use the power suit and all that stuff in your bit. Okay. And now, I heard through the grapevine that I know that your last bench, max bench was 825 at contest, and I heard you were going to try to go for more. You're going to try to break the record or something this next year.
Yeah, actually, there's some elite lifters right now. There's a lot of guys out there benching a lot of weight, and it's still a big number. But yeah, I'm going to have to try to get 900 in July. That's what we're going for. It's very attainable. I think it just depends on if everything goes right, technique, strength, and everything. So, but that's what we're going for, 900 or plus.
So let's talk about technique in just a second, because I think you have some good tips to help people become better benchers and to alleviate some mistakes that might be common for most people who go in the gym trying to do a good bench. But tell me a little bit about what's going to change this from now until say July in your training or in your training philosophy, or maybe even in your preparation for this next meet. What are you doing differently that you didn't do before that's going to improve from 825? Because 825 is a huge number anyways.
Yeah. I think the huge thing is up to this meet, 17 weeks, I believe. So right now, I think you can appreciate this. You being a pro bodybuilder, we kind of have a bodybuilding stage in between meets where we don't necessarily take off powerlifting movements, but we do a lot more blood work, and don't put the stress on our joints and tendons as much, and give our body a rest.
Okay.
So we don't lock stuff. We kind of, try to be mindful of knees and elbows and wrists and stuff like that. But about 12 weeks out, 13, 12 weeks out, I'll really start loading it up. And we start about 75, 85% the first mini cycle, which is 4 weeks. And then we'll kind of ramp it up, as we get closer. And then we deload towards the end of the cycle, going into the meet so I can rest up and heal up and then go into meet. Hopefully,
feeling strong.
Everything.
I see. So, and you're gonna attempt 900. You said.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, good luck. I'll be rooting for you. So now I know you have some really. I know you know what you're doing when it comes to bench press, and I've not been a huge bencher in my lifetime. I think the most I ever got my weight up to, and it was just purely in the gym working out, not at a competition. I never competed in powerlifting, but was about 500, a little over 500. And for a guy my height, I'm only 5'7", and at the time I was about 240. That's and I was in my 20s. I'll tell you the reason why I stopped. I mean, I went 7 years without benching because while being a bodybuilder, I care about development more than I care about strength. You need to have strength to have a certain degree of development, but also I care more about preserving my body a bit because I do a lot of volume training, that kind of thing. But I stopped benching because I was feeling some of the shoulders issues. And while I never got injured, I knew that at the age of 26, 27, like I want to be in this sport for another 30, 40 years, and compete for another 20 years. And if I was going to do that, I was like, I'm not going to make it if I'm benching heavy every week. So I really kind of, through my own sort of evolution of chest training, I stopped doing a lot of flat benches, and I just stuck with pretty much incline bench if I was going to do bench, because I've always done that, and isolation movements. Now, from your perspective, I realize that powerlifting, there's a very specific application. Like, you have to go in the meet and bench. So you need to bench consistently. But how much does that play into your training? How much does trying to stay healthy? Because it sounds like you take that in consideration with how you move up to a contest. But how much can you really stay your body from getting those little injuries, those little things that people usually encounter when they bench heavy all the time? Can you keep away from injury this way, or is it just a matter of time?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think the first one, I think you really have to look at, and I think you can appreciate this, is genetics.
Absolutely.
Some guys are just blessed with, good bone structure, good muscularity, and stuff like that. So that right there is a huge plus if you got that on your side. But I think the next thing is obviously knowledge and programming. You have to, you can't lift heavy all the time. And the old adage is, if you want to pick up something heavy, then you pick up heavy weight. And it is true still today. But I think some of the training principles and techniques and, some of the stuff coming out, bands and chains and stuff like that, where it's aggressive deload and, stuff like that allows you to lift heavier weights during the different stages of the lift, and in the bottom, in the hole, you don't have as much weight on you. And I guess why I bring that up is because it takes a little stress off your shoulders and other things like that. But I think you have to stick to the main power movements in a training cycle. I think those always have to be there. But over time, I think if you listen to your body, you'll figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and you just kind of work around those tweaks and slight injuries to make it to the end of the training cycle. But that's why programming and you writing down what works and what doesn't work is so important, because further on in your career, you'll figure out what may not work for one of your teammates.
Yeah.
A lot of times in the gym, we get done with the main movement, squat, bench, or deadlift, and we'll go do different things because, this movement hurts someone's shoulder and this one doesn't, and so forth. So
you adapt the training. You're adapting your training to what's called for at the moment, so to speak.
Absolutely, or what you're going to benefit more from. And over the years, I think I've learned that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Anybody can get strong really fast. I mean, with good, diet, nutrition, supplementation, and training. But how long can you do that for? And how long of a time can you, how long can you stay in a sport? Because hey, you were in it for 20-something years. So if somebody had to ask you to bow out after 10 or 12 years, that would have hurt.
Yeah.
They've been ready to go.
I'm still not ready to go yet.
Exactly. So I think if you take the mentality of that, it's a marathon and not a sprint. You're more mindful of what you do. You listen to your body more. And Tad, there's many weeks when we're going through training and we'll all conversate and say, hey man, I'm beat up. Let's take a day off.
Sure.
Or let's do blood work. And what I mean by blood work, and what this is you just fill the blood, which blood is a healer. So, if you have nagging injuries and tweaks and stuff like that, the blood work, can work wonders from week to week. But so we'll just do blood work, or take the entire day off, So, and that happens a lot because we know what works and what doesn't work for us.
This is kind of interesting that you bring up this point because it reminds me of some conversations I've had with some bodybuilders recently and some new technology, well, relatively new technology to the bodybuilding world.